Okay, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Always saying welcome back because we're always happy to have you guys with us. So, we tried to record this video like a week ago and it didn't work out. So, we're back now, but it kind of works out because the topic that I'm talking about has recently got a close to it
Mm-hmm.
where so it makes it a little bit more interesting. It gives us a little bit more to talk about and add to what we tried to do before. So, I feel like though, let's keep the anticipation up for mine. So we'll have you shall go first.
Oh,
And
okay.
we'll talk about you shalls before we get into my topic.
I want to talk about just some recent news. One of the news I found that I think is very interesting is this one from Associate Press as well as ABC. They both reported it, and the headline says "Robot Hacker Alert: AI-powered cyber assault linked to China." And
Okay.
And the summary of the article essentially is that researchers at AI company Anthropic have uncovered and disrupted what they describe as the first known use of artificial intelligence to direct a large scale, largely automated hacking campaign
Hmm.
linked to the Chinese government.
Okay. So they were using an AI like program or model to try to like I don't know much about hacking. All I know is DDoS, which is where they just flood like a website or something. So was it similar to that?
I don't know exactly what they used. I doubt anybody knows unless you work for the government.
Mm.
But if I were to guess, it's probably something like a automated AI model that can generate certain kind of task and execute it. This could mean that like artificial a large language model that can generate the codes that it would need to perform a hacking specific hacking task and also executing that or even repeating like something similar like nonstop.
Mm.
That's what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about like a large scale AI
Right.
hacking campaign. That's what I'm
Right.
thinking.
It might be naive of me, but I've never thought about using AI to do hacking or things like that. Like, I know they use it in the military to, like, identify targets and things like that, but I'd never thought about it being used in, like, this type of field or, like, in this type of way.
That is very naive of you
Yeah.
because human will literally find any tools that we can use to kill each other. And I knew like this news just came out not so long ago.
Mm.
But I bet people have been using AI to attack each other for a long time now.
Did they find out if it was like they said it originated from China, but did they give any more information? Like, do you think this is something the Chinese government was like, go do this, or do you think it was like an independent hacker that tried to use this?
See, that's the thing. Well, in the article, Associate Press says that is well somebody from Anthropic says that they detected this threat and is from uh, a government led campaign, and most of the time you can probably tell if it's an individual hacker or it's like a self-formed hacker group
Right,
compared to a nation state backed hacker group
right.
because the fundings and the resources they can get is drastically different.
Mm.
So I don't know exactly what they found out. Like they didn't say a lot in the article. They just basically said what we talked about. But if it's large scale, like is I think is more likely to be a work of a Chinese government backed organization rather than just some random hackers trying to experiment, I guess.
Another question. if they're good enough to use like AI and use it in this large scale way, this and everything, do you think it's possible it could be somebody that's not even from China, but they're like routing their, I don't know, their IP address or something to make it look like they're from over there, or do you think it's more likely it is from China?
Oh, so you're talking about how they determines where the attack is coming from.
Right.
I'm not an IT expert.
No, I
So
know.
I wouldn't know how they would go about tracking people, like where the attack originated from. Like what you can check the IP address,
Mm-hmm.
which is, what's it basically ID for your internet.
Right.
But there are also certain ways you can hide your IP address or change it, or mask it, make it to something else. But if they, yeah, I'll just leave it like that. I don't know what method people needs to use to track exactly where it's coming from.
Okay. I was just curious if it's something like, because tensions are high between the two countries right now. They usually are. If it's some third party country being like, oh, we're gonna ramp up the tension by making it seem like it's from coming over there, or it was just an attack from over there. I was just curious. Like, that's just something I
Well,
thought about when you read the article off.
if there were a country that were pretending, well, we're behind this instead of
Mm-hmm.
China, which country could it be? Like, is there even a potential candidate for a situation like that?
Well, I didn't think that far. I was just getting out like my thoughts on it, I guess, because this is the first time I've heard about it. I feel like I have seen a lot of news regarding the topic that I'm going to talk about, and I feel like it's kind of been overshadowing a lot of like other news that's been coming out.
Yeah.
So, it's just something that like came to mind. Like if I read that article myself instead of having you tell me about it, that would have been going through my mind as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of crazy though. Again, it could just be because I'm naive, but it's really crazy to think about AI being used to do like mass hacking or like mass attacks over the internet. But it's not unlikely. Like I wouldn't think it would never happen, but it's just crazy that it's happened so early in the stages of AI development, I guess, because they're still working out like a lot of things. So I didn't think it'd be capable of it right now.
Yeah, just think about the AI we have access to is what they allow us to use.
Right.
So they gotta have something way more sophisticated than what we have right now, and what we have right now is pretty impressive already. I always knew people gonna start using AI to attack each other, to do cyber attacks specifically, and I also predict this. There will be drones that will literally just be flown by AI, and you've seen the video footage from Ukraine war, that they
Mm-hmm.
fly these drones with grenades into tanks,
Right.
and soon enough they don't even need that. They don't even need a controller anymore. They just push a button, 100 drones set off, and they just all just go find their targets and blow it up. And it could be all AI. Like even the decision making could be AI. Just think about what Palantir is doing.
I was
Palantir
thinking
can
about
use
that too.
AI to literally making wartime decisions. Like even the decisions of setting off the 100 drones. That decision could be made by AI as well, or it could do something else.
Right.
It's not surprising at all, and it's dangerous.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I was just thinking, like, if you have those high level decisions being made by AI, that's kind of really scary to think about. Because I would rather a human be thinking about all the consequences or what could happen versus, like, just a computer system being like,
Yeah, I, yeah, yes, I know. Right now, I don't know how much of it is AI making the decisions. From what I heard, is more like here we have a situation and AI can come up with couple plans and you can pick one, something like that. Um, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I have the yawns right now. And I forgot to say it in the beginning of the video, but today is November 14th of 2025, which is important for my topic of discussion, which is the government shutdown that just ended. And it was a long, long journey that, in my opinion, ended basically where it started. Like, the government shutdown was all about making sure that healthcare subsidies get passed for the next year or extended. And that was what was making Democrats hold out. And then they just gave a bill over that didn't even have the one thing they were trying to get in it.
What do you mean by they? Because from what I know is six members flipped their decisions.
Well, it was 8. You have to have at least 7 to 7 of the minority party needs to also agree with the majority to get anything passed. So it's a super majority for these
Well,
things.
yeah, what I'm saying is like a small percentage of them flipped their positions.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think they necessarily flipped their decision and they don't think it's important anymore. I think they were just like, we can't let the government shutdown go on anymore, so we just have to sign something to get it up, and we'll kind of work with it as we go. And I just think it is really bad, the government shutdown. It affects a lot of different parts of obviously the government, but also normal everyday people's lives. A big thing that was going on was, SNAP benefits. They ran out at the end of October, and because of the government shutdown, and 42 million Americans rely on that. So I think that was a big factor pushing them to try to just be like, we're going to sign something right now, get something going, even though they didn't get the thing they were trying to get, which was ACA subsidies. And the bill they signed is for up until January 30th. So what they signed only funds the government until January 30th, and then they have to go back to the table to try to get everything else sorted out. So I'm just like, what's going to stop it from having another shutdown on January 30th?
Well, a government shutdown, like you said, affects a lot of things. People don't get paid, especially people who are working for the government, like military, like flight control people,
Right.
air traffic control, or just anybody like if you work for the BMV, you're probably not getting paid right now. And it sucks because I know there's somebody out there is gonna be waiting for that paycheck and they're trying to pay that rent.
Yeah.
And it's very realistic thing because over the years I lived in this country, I realized people just don't have savings.
Yep, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, so that's gonna be really tough when you literally haven't got paid for like a month and a half. About a month and a half, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
it was
not.
43 days by
Yeah.
the time they signed the bill and it passed the House.
Well, yeah, and that is gonna take them at least some time to
Yep.
get the money figured out.
Right.
I don't know how it works. They tap in, print this amount, and just
No.
push OK, and money is just generated.
No. I mean, yeah, it's going to take the news articles I was seeing, they said it's going to take at least 3 weeks for things to get back up to where they were. It's not going to be like an overnight thing and everything's back to the way it was. But they've started to pull people back in for air traffic controllers. So a lot of the things also that I've seen is they're going to try to get people back into the air traffic controllers. They had it at a 10% flight reduction across 40 airports.
Yep.
They're going to try to get that down to 6% within the next week or two, just to try to get it going a little bit more. But also part of the bill that they signed was, while this government shutdown was going on, the current administration fired people. got rid of people to try to save money or something. I don't even know why they would have done it. But that bill says that they have to hire those people back on and not and obviously back pay them for the time that they were fired from, like whenever they were fired until now.
We have to fire all those unqualified DI hires. What do you think happened?
Yeah, I bet that's 100% what it was. But they were getting mad at air traffic controllers because they were just calling off and not coming in because they're like, I'm not getting paid. I'm not coming into an understaffed place anyway.
I heard, yeah.
And, Trump was like, if you don't come in, then there's going to be consequences and things like that. So they were really trying to, keep people in, even though the pressure was so high from like, you're not getting paid, you're going in, you're understaffed already, because they were already understaffed going into the shutdown.
Right.
Because of a whole bunch of federal workers getting fired with the whole Doge thing that went on. So it was just a very stressful time for, normal people and people that work in the government. And obviously I'm glad that the government shutdown isn't continuing on. But I think it is a bad thing that the Democrats capitulated to the Republicans, because polls came out and it said that over half of Americans said the Republicans were responsible for the government shutdown.
Well, they're the one that's having the government right now.
Yeah.
So.
And also because what the Democrats wanted, which is subsidies to continue for the Affordable Care Act, which funds like rural hospitals, which are already affected because there was a takedown in the amount of money they got. A lot of them closed down. A lot of them had to, or just cut back on what they could do, which really affects these people out in the rural, counties and things like that. So even though Democrats, people think there is such a big line between Republicans and Democrats, the Democrats were fighting for a majority of Republicans with this like holdout, because a majority of people that use the ACA are Republicans and people out in rural counties or rural places in America.
Yeah, and I hope people just don't get too wrapped around in the political fight, and they literally cannot see anything but the parties.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, is the people we're talking about. Doesn't matter if they're Republican, they're Democrats, they're whatever party they're from, or no party at all. Is the people who live in this country and what kind of life they're living. We're talking about. I think that's a better way to think about it than, oh, we're saving more Republicans or we're saving more Democrats. That's not the purpose.
Yep, I agree 100%. Especially with things like healthcare, food. Like, you're holding out these things for a big population of the United States. Like I said, 42 million Americans rely on SNAP. And I just...
About that number, like I don't know what is a good amount of people that would utilize social welfare. But 42 million is like about 10% of the entire population of US. It seems like a lot to me. I don't know if that's a lot, but it just seems like a lot.
It is a lot, but it's not just like, oh, that's a lot. You can look and see with the wide picture why so many people are on social welfare or need SNAP, because we have a definite cost of living crisis in this country. I remember at one point I was looking into it to see if there was any way we could get some SNAP or something like that. And you like put in your how much you make, who's employing you, and your hourly salary as well as your yearly salary. And that's kind of like the baseline. And if you meet that, then I bet there's more criteria. It goes a little more in depth.
What if you don't go to work?
Well, then there was a box on there that said unemployed.
Like, what if you choose not to work? Like, can you live off that?
I really don't think you could, because SNAP only covers your food. That doesn't cover like housing or anything else like that. So, and I don't feel like the social welfare we have in this country is enough for people to just choose not to work and be able to live like a normal life with a house and, things like that.
Yeah, I just hope we're not wasting money. Like people, like what I'm saying is, I hope people are not taking advantage of the program and just spending money that we could have spent on something else, like fixing up the roads.
I just think, yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into it. And I really do feel like the federal minimum wage is still at like 7.25 or 7.50 an hour. You
Yeah.
cannot live on $7 an
No,
hour.
well, no. Most I
So,
know most people don't make that. Most people
right,
would make at least 12 or maybe 15.
right. But I'm saying I feel like even 15 is pushing it.
Well, 15 is low. I'm not
Yeah.
saying 15 is
No,
high,
I
15 is
know.
low.
I'm just saying I think something that could help a lot is because think about the people who are most likely on like SNAP benefits. It's probably people who have lower income jobs or like lower, skilled jobs. People that work at like a McDonald's or a fast food restaurant or things like that. If the federal minimum wage was a little bit higher, it might help bump those people up just enough that they'd be able to actually use their paycheck and live off of that besides having to have like social welfare programs help them out. So I feel like, but there's many different things like that go into it. I think that affect that
Mm-hmm.
because we have a job, we work for a bigger company, and we still see how expensive healthcare is. Just how much that takes out of your paycheck, or how much just taxes in general take out of our paychecks.
It is very expensive.
Mm.
Like it's so expensive. Most of the colleagues I have talked to, they don't get it.
Right?
Do you know that? Like
Well, I'm
I
not
ask
surprised.
I ask a lot of them. They just say, "Oh, it's too expensive. I don't get it."
Right? And that's one of the things that, to bring it back around to the government shutdown, that the Democrats were trying to keep going was subsidies for this because right now they're going to run out and they're set to run out by like the end of this year. And people's healthcare premiums are going to double, if not triple, in certain areas. So that's one of the big factors why they were holding out and they weren't letting this issue go.
Here's the thing. It's so I'm thinking about this problem right now. It's so complicated. I know it's gonna take so much to fix, and I literally have no faith in the near future this is
Mm-hmm.
gonna be fixed. Because let's think about this. People, there are people out there already cannot afford this healthcare because it's so expensive. Why is it expensive? Because the big pharmas have this tight grip over the medical industry, and they
Mm-hmm.
dictate the price. And
Yep.
also the insurance company have
Oh yeah.
definitely have their interest in this as well. Is is a money making uh, uh, machine for everybody, but but it doesn't help average citizens or average people who lives in this country. And in order to fix that, right, we have to somehow figure out a way to lower the cost of running all this so
Mm-hmm.
people's premium can go down. But that's definitely gonna take time, right? Is like you talked about this thing they signed, this bill they signed is only gonna extend the funding until January. It's not gonna be fixed by
Oh
January.
no.
Like, what do you think is gonna happen from now until
Right?
January? Like, nothing significant is gonna happen. So, like, what is even gonna happen with healthcare? And I don't feel very optimistic about it.
No, neither do I because the thing was we'll vote on this now so SNAP benefits can continue to go and the government reopens. And then the Republicans are like, "Oh, well like next month we'll definitely like we'll all get together to get a health care bill going." But they have a majority in the House and the Senate. They're going to say, "Oh, we'll totally look at this down the line." And then when that time comes, they're going to shut down any bill that the Democrats push.
Well, that's the thing. Um, I feel like Republicans, especially Republican representatives, senator or Congress, they need to think about their constituents. You
Mhm.
know,
But
people who
they're
are voting for you, you need to act in their interest. Like the
I know what you were gonna say.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, right?
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like I never thought I would agree with some of her points, but recently, a lot of things she has said that I actually agree with her, and she just she's saying that because she wants to follow through with her campaign promise, which
Mm-hmm.
is stick with her constituents' interest, and I
Mm-hmm.
really respect that.
Yep, I do remember seeing an interview with her, and she was like, I feel like it's hitting these people too because it's people close to them that are feeling it. In her interview, she was like, my kids are telling me how expensive it is. And if this bill doesn't go through, if we don't continue to give have ACA subsidies, it's going to get more expensive and they're already struggling. So it kind of humanized her constituents to her because she now sees somebody that's close to her going through this. But I think that's a big problem with a lot of these people. They get voted in and then they just get surrounded by, oh, look at all the power I have now and the money I have, and they lose sight of what they went in there to do. Or these lobbyists come in and lobby them to, push certain things, and they're willing to take that money over actually helping the people they're supposed to be representing.
Yeah. And then we have career politicians.
Yeah, don't even get me started on
Well,
that.
think about this. Like, if career politicians, they still have to be elected, right? They still have to be they have to still have to run every so
Mm-hmm.
often, right?
They
To
do.
be re-elected. So it is kind of democratic result, but I also feel like the longer you stays in the government, the more power you have, the more lobby groups that would that are willing to pay more donation to your campaign
Right, and
for your
bankroll it.
for your re-election.
Right. I think there definitely should be term limits. I think having somebody that can be in office, like, I don't even think Supreme Court justices should be for life because society moves so quickly with things. And you have somebody that's like a no, like appoint let me redo that. And you have somebody that's appointed in like early 2000s as a Supreme Court judge, and now it's 2025. Things are very different now than they are from then. And I feel like we need fresh blood coming through. Everybody's so old in Congress, so old in the government, like they have outdated views on things or they're so stuck in their ways that even if all of their constituents are like, we don't care about this issue that you're fighting for, we want affordability, we want this or this, but they get so stuck in their ways because they're so old and they're, like you said, they get these lobbyists that come in and bankroll them. They just, it almost doesn't matter what the constituents want sometimes. But there have been some elections that have happened recently that I think are shifting those tides and kind of showing that just because this is how things always happen, it doesn't have to stay that way.
No, that's the thing about this country. People don't believe that things are set in certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
Things are always changing. Like
Yep.
right now, it's changing.
Yeah. But so those are my thoughts on it. I mean, we've had the longest government shutdown. So this was a new experience for everybody. It
Yeah.
was 43 days long. The previous longest shutdown was during Trump's first administration. We That was my thoughts on it. This being the longest government shutdown, I think we saw a lot more pressure with it than we have in previous ones. But fun fact, the previous longest shutdown was 35 days and it was during Trump's first administration. So he set a new record. He's always trying to outbeat himself and do all that. So,
What I know we're about to end this, but I just want to add,
mm,
this is serious though, because no, think about this. I've been following financial news, so one thing investors pay a lot of attention to is labor statistics, consumer spending index statistics, and most of this data has to be released by the government. And because the shutdown, investors literally have no idea what is going on right now. And people suspect that because of the shutdown, it will slow down this quarters of the GDP growth,
Mm,
like from a 2% to like a 0 point something percent.
dang.
It's definitely gonna have effect. And also just think about what it looks like to the rest of the world. Like, you also have partners that lend you money,
Mm-hmm.
and you just shut the government down. They might think about, you might not as credit worthy as once they thought about.
Right.
It's definitely is important.
It is important. And I think I'm not trying to downplay the importance of that at all. Like, I'll make my little jokes, but at the end of the day, it is something really serious. And with the shutdown, and a big thing that I was really focused on and seeing when the shutdown was happening was the SNAP benefits. Just because food is such an important thing. Like, I feel like it's a human right to be able to have food and to be able to get food. Like, that's how you survive, okay?
It
And
should be it should be a human rights in this country. I agree,
mm-hmm,
because if we want this country to be the greatest country in the world, we have to start somewhere.
mm-hmm.
And not letting people starve sounds like a great starting
I
point.
right. But speaking on that, with it got overshadowed by everybody talking about the SNAP benefits. One way they kind of decide where they're going to give SNAP benefits, how they're going to allocate money to it, they have a poll that they put out and it tracks um, like hunger scarcity, like food scarcity in households.
Mm.
And they track it by like, is it affecting older people more, like people on retirement, young parents, things like that. And the Trump administration said they're not going to continue to do that polling, which I
Oh
think is a
yeah.
big thing.
Sweep it under the rug. I don't
Yeah,
want to
that's what
see
it feels
that.
like.
That's
Oh,
Well, I there was another topic we were gonna talk about last week, which is um some woman from New York City, and she was writing about, oh, U.S. government is no different from Chinese government when it comes to look the other way when they don't want to
mm-hmm.
look at certain things.
Right.
And she said something like, oh, at least I know where the line is in China, but here it seems like it's constantly shifting, which, I disagree. The line in China is pretty gray as well. But
Mm.
but now you're seeing that happening here, which I know it didn't exist before.
Well, yeah, because it's like it's important. Even if I feel like in the United States in previous administrations or whatever, even if it's something ugly like food scarcity in households, it's
Mm-hmm.
important to know the information about who's being affected the most so you know where to allocate these things instead of just being like, oh, out of sight, out of mind. Like,
Yeah.
it's not important, even though it is something that's extremely important. It's like tracking unemployment rates and seeing who's most unemployed. Is it younger people? Is it middle
Mm-hmm.
aged people? And which sectors have the most unemployment in it?
Yeah.
And I know that's something that they stopped doing that kind of tracking as well with the Chinese government, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So, because a lot of people have graduated college and they weren't getting jobs as easily because there's a scarcity of jobs or there's just so many people coming in. It's hard to employ everybody when you have such a big population of people graduating or whatever. But,
Well, it's all those reasons combined, and
yeah.
plus the economy is not doing well right now.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just ever since this administration has taken hold, it has been 9 months, 10 months.
Oh my God, you look like we're living in hell.
Well, I'm just
No, you
saying it's
have to look
been.
on the bright
Well,
side.
I'm just
You
saying
you
it's
you, you
there's
sounds
always
like the
something.
world is about to fucking end.
Well, hey,
What
pulls
what
back into our last topic. Maybe we
I
are left
no
behind.
no I say tomorrow will be better.
I think it's important to look and think like that. Like, today wasn't that good, but tomorrow could be, the turning point and things can go up from here. It's always important to have hope and continue to look forward and not have a pessimistic attitude.
Well, yeah, if you just look at the news all day and you see all these things that's not good and it makes you feel depressed, but you can always do what you can do to make the world a little bit better. Like I told you, one good deed per day, right? When we're
Mm-hmm.
out on the when we're out working, if we see somebody that needs help, even if we just help one person a day, is affecting is something is happening.
Right.
I know
Butterfly effect.
is not big enough to make a dramatic dramatic dramatic. It's not big enough to make a drastic change all of a sudden, but it's better than nothing is happening.
Yep, I agree. I do think we've talked about off camera the butterfly effect, and I really do kind of believe in it because I feel like, you know, if somebody helps me during the day, I think about that during the day, and it makes me want to be like, hey, I feel good because somebody helped me out when I needed it. I'm gonna see if I see somebody, I'm gonna help them out, and hopefully it creates a little chain, like a chain reaction, I guess.
And it's not hard.
Or just right, or
Yeah.
just doing something. We've been out at work a couple times, and there's been like a turtle in the road, and I'm just like, I can't not help it get across the street.
A goat gets stuck
There
in
was
the
a
fence.
yeah, there was a goat stuck in a fence, so I was like, we gotta stop so I can help it, because even though you're not helping like a person in the long run.
Not the old man in his
Oh.
front yard.
Well, I wasn't there for that one, so I didn't see that one, but you did tell me about that.
Yeah.
But I think it's important, like, even if it's something you think is so little, like a goat, his head is stuck in the fence. I helped to get its head out, and now you're helping the person that owns that animal feel a little bit better. They know their animal's not in trouble. They'll see something.
Well, the animal also feels better.
Well, yeah.
I bet the goat appreciates his head
Yeah.
unstuck.
He was really stuck in there, so I got him out. But what I'm trying to say is, just doing one little thing, it helps other people kind of feel that sense of community, and it helps get through these darker times that we're kind of going through right now, and help you look forward to the future. And, you might think, oh, today kind of suck, but somebody helped me, I helped somebody, tomorrow's going to be better, and it helps foster that kind of positive attitude. 'Cause,
you have to be positive.
Mm-hmm. Well, we work with some people, and every day they come in, the vibe is atrocious, their attitude sucks, and it kind of makes you feel down about yourself just being by that person. So I think it's good to have a positive attitude, and that rubs off on other people as well. So
yeah, for sure.
For sure. But yeah, that was my my topic, and I don't have anything else to say. I think we covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
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 He sounded like he had a lot to say. He's been snoring this whole video.
Yeah.
Oh, I woke him up when I did that. But so yeah, today was the 14th. Yep, the 14th of November. And I think that'll conclude this video. So yeah, that concludes our video. And as we said, keep positive thoughts, and we'll continue to bring our positive vibes in the next video.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.